Welcome to the Germinate podcast, where agriculture, business, and innovation take root and thrive. I'm Joe Samson, and with nearly 2 decades of experience in agricultural equipment and scaling businesses, I'm here to bring you actionable insights, inspiring stories, and strategic advice. Whether you're an industry veteran or just starting out, this podcast is your guide to cultivating ideas, expanding your knowledge, and growing your venture. So let's get started and germinate your path to success. This episode is brought to you by Haven Steel, one of the newest supporters we have here on the Germinate podcast, and we couldn't be more grateful to have them on board. They are specialty heat treaters who've mastered the art of steel form products built to last longer and deliver the kind of durability manufacturers depend on. They support businesses throughout the globe with American-made reliability, but really here's what I appreciate the most about Haven. They're genuinely great people first. Owner Ken Brown and his team carry a purpose and a drive that's rare in today's business world. They don't just work hard on their 2 plants in Haven, Kansas and McKinsey, Tennessee. They care. They put their customers first, they show up when it matters, and they stand behind every product they manufacture. So if you manufacture agricultural equipment or distribute heat-treated components, Haven Steel is the only name you need to call. And I'll say this, Haven Steel is up to something special. They are investing, expanding, and stepping into a new chapter that's going to get this industry's attention. So stay tuned, everyone. Keep your eye on Haven Steel and learn more at havensteel.com, havensteel.com. All righty, folks, welcome. This is actually the first episode I'm recording of 2026. So kudos to you, Jason. 2026, we've got it covered here. But anyway, yeah, appreciate you guys coming for the ride. Come along for the ride. 2025 was a fantastic year for the podcast, so we're looking to build on that for next year. Quick announcements. We've offered some more sponsorship opportunities for 2026, so those are on the website, mbosales.com. All those that are sponsoring us already, we just can't thank you enough. Really, that's how we keep doing this show week in, week out. Audience is growing, everything's growing. We're talking to streaming companies as well. So it's going to be an exciting year. So we really appreciate it. Quick shout out to a few sponsors. Number one, Haven Steel out of Haven, Kansas. Appreciate those guys. Their B-roll will run here at the middle of the show. So check out those guys, havensteel.com, havensteel.com. Also the Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association, farmequip.org. They're just about ready to announce the San Antonio Spring Supply Summit. That's coming up March 24th through the 26th. So pay attention to that. It's a can't miss event if you're in the agribusiness space, ag tech space, ag equipment space, obviously. A network's super important, and you have to be a part of one to kind of build not only you yourself personally, but your business. And there's real opportunity that comes with that. Okay. Enough of that. My first guest for 2026, Mr. Jason Kiesau. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Happy New Year, Joe.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you, man. Let's get on with some introductions here. I think I came across you probably via LinkedIn, and I was looking for somebody that could talk about, leadership skills, social development skills, all the things necessary to kind of reshape, retool your life for, some of the capabilities where we all maybe have slid off the rails, and your name came up. That's probably a terrible introduction, but I want you to introduce who you are, your business. You kind of have a lot of things going on, and you're an exciting guy too. So I'm super excited for the audience to hear from you. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Oh man, no pressure.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that LinkedIn works. So the
Right?
years of posting shows that people are seeing it and things like that. So happy to be here. Jason Kiesau. I like you said, I do a variety of different things. My full-time work is with a company called Tracom Group. We're part of a larger company, HK 360. Tracom Group is a social intelligence company. We create research-based programming to really help address the most significant soft skill gaps in the workplace. And, it's the workplace that buys the stuff, but the stuff is so transferable at home in every area of life if we're volunteering, things of that nature, really around how people communicate. And I mean, that's a whole topic we could talk about. but communication, adaptability, resiliency, emotional intelligence, agility, things of that nature. I also have a consulting business, Jason Kiesau Leadership, that I'm a leadership guy. I'm a leadership guy, and I'm trying to find, as you and I were talking, I'm trying to find the secret sauce with human behavior and human development to be able to help people lead. And in when we talk about leadership, I look at it from the perspective of the personal leadership perspective, all the way up to if you're a Fortune 500 CEO or anywhere in between. We first have to lead ourselves, and the same principles that are going to make a senior leader in a large organization successful are transferable to what we're doing every day when we wake up, right? Um, that leads into a lot of other things. I'm a co-facilitator with the Ankeny Leadership Institute. I love educating and trying to support people, and that leads into a variety of other things as well. So I could go on, but um,
Yeah.
leadership's a big deal.
Yeah. So leadership, soft skills. What do you mean by soft skills? What are you talking about there?
Yeah. So first, the whole term soft skills, I hate it.
Okay.
In you could have, and I think the perception is shifting a little bit, but the whole world's soft. Um, People perceive it as maybe not as important sometimes. And I consider it today's survival of the fittest, the emotional, social intelligence. The whole soft skill thing is just the whole more intangible things that you can't like put um, with your eyes and necessarily ears put a direct measurement to, like you
Hmm.
can a hard skill or some competency that you can measure or some outcome, right?
Got it. Got it. So we're getting into more. I mean, is this getting into more? Okay, what's your nonverbal communication skills? How's your handshake? How's your eye contact? What about what's your fitness level? What do you dress like? These are the types of things you're talking about, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think we can go down any of those tracks. Where I think it starts, and I think this is really the root of everything. I think most of the challenges we have in our lives, and most of the challenges we have with other people, is that we don't understand behavior. Okay, we don't understand our behavior accurately. Each of us has a self-perception bias, and all that really means is how we think we show up may not be accurate to how others experience us. And it's not an intelligence thing, and it's not an integrity thing. And you can be the most well-intended person on the planet and not have a full picture on how your verbal and nonverbal communication hits, or your dominant pattern of behavior and how it affects other people, right? So behavior is a really big deal. So if we lay a foundation of creating greater awareness around behavior, ours and others, then we can start getting into more of the tactical things like the handshakes and the dress and things like that.
Sure, sure.
It all revolves around um, if you look at the emotional intelligence model, okay, Traycom does social intelligence, so it takes it a little deeper. But if you look at the emotional intelligence model, it's self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. Well, the self-awareness is what can you do to gain as much accurate information about yourself that's useful in your decision making, whether you need to
Hmm.
start doing things, stop doing things, adjust this.
Yeah,
Self-awareness is a really big deal, right?
sure.
So we're managing ourselves and we're making better decisions based on good information, hopefully decisions aligned with our purpose and our vision and our goals and things like that. We're going to get better results. We're going to less of a chance we're going to step in a hole or um, do something that's going to set us back or hold us back, right? Doesn't guarantee success, it increases the chances. But we're not on an island working by ourselves. We have to interact with other people. Well, that's that social awareness. And there's a whole bunch of behavioral opportunity out there. And this is really what I do at the core is I teach people about their behavior and how to observe others' behavior. So what does it mean when somebody talks fast? What does it mean when somebody overthinks? What does it mean um, when somebody takes something personally? Right? What does it mean when somebody you know they're thinking something different, but they agree with you and they shut down?
Yeah,
We
I got you.
have we have mechanisms to help that make sense, right? And that's really what soft skill is when we understand the essence of the person. we can venture off into everything else we're talking about here and make it make more sense because of the personal experience that people have with it.
I think this is you're really studying people
Yeah.
and the types of people, and part of probably how you get to, get the experience to do that is number one is you've got to study yourself. In your backstory, I'm privy to know, but I think the audience would really it'd be curious as well. Ours kind of have similar past. I'll run briefly by mine.
Yeah, please.
I was a let's see. I was in a kind of a long-term college relationship. We all know what those were like. I thought it was serious. I thought it was love. That ended like most of those things do, like high school or college relationships. That ended. I was in this state of flux. This was when I was in my mid-20s, so I lingered a little bit longer. Um, in this state of flux, I was drinking all the time. I was basically a loser. This is in the late not no, not late '90s, early 2000s, right after, like, 2002-ish.
Mhm.
I was a loser, kinda, by today's definition, a loser. Didn't really have much aspirations. I had a good job. I was always a competitive guy because sports are a big part of my life, so I always loved to win at work. Uh, More so I hated to lose. I that we can talk about that later, but the point is I hated to lose, so I hated when somebody else was outworking me, basically. Still do to this day. That said, I, by the grace of God, meet my wife. No way she should have ever gone for me, but she does. And she is this put together person of faith, like lives it out. She's polished. She's all these things. And sorry I'm blabbing here, but
Oh,
she
please.
starts running marathons early on in our relationship, and I'm still a loser on the couch, drinking beer, going out with my friends, partying, and I finally decide, like, wait a minute here. This is crazy. I cannot continue to live like this. So she, along with a lot of other factors in my life, forced me to change. And I told you that story, and then you went on your story, which is way, way, way better. But the point being is, sometimes you got to hit a little bit of a bottom before you can kind of start rising up to the top. And you, the study of people, number one, man, you got to know the Jason looking back at you in the mirror, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
what's your story?
Yeah, I heard a phrase recently, or a term that said, "All research is me search," right?
Okay.
Um, which is interesting. Um, so and this is something like when I'm doing training and coaching, I travel all over North America and work with different groups and around behavior. I don't share this stuff unless there's a reason to share it. And it was, it was you saying you were a loser,
Yeah.
right? And as you were saying you were a loser in the early 2000s, and how old were you?
I was like 25, 24.
Yeah, man, and I'm just like, "Holy smokes, are we like, do we have a mirrored situation a little bit?" What
Yep.
would be interesting, and we don't need to unpack that now, is what was leading up to, the previous 24 years that put you in this loser spot, right?
That's a good point.
Um,
Yeah.
because I don't know that I ever used the term loser. It was more failure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Which hurts even more, by the way.
well,
Gosh.
it
Yeah.
scares you, right? I mean, I would need to think about the whole loser thing. That's probably a different thing, but I think we're doing the same thing, right?
Same thing. Right.
It's coming to a place in our early 20s, it sounds like, where we're like, "What are we doing?"
Yeah. We gotta go down a right path here soon, or we're gonna go down a pretty evil, dark
Well,
one.
and if we keep doing what we're doing, what are the consequences of it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, so, but that you said that, and that's what I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this is," and if we were to, there's a lot of people that have a similar story, I believe, but, it's a story of, I think, adversity. It's a story of, uh, you only know what you know. It's a
Yeah.
story of survival, I guess. It's, in a nutshell, I grew up a middle class household, um, 2 older sisters. My dad was a angry alcoholic, like, and when I would hear about other parents having drinks, like there's fun drunks, there's social drunks. Like my dad was and this is my memory pretty consistently, is super hard worker, right? He'd wake up at 3:34 in the morning. He'd get his stuff together. He'd go, he was a route salesman most of my life. And he would get home at 3:30, 4 o'clock. And he'd sit at his desk and do his paperwork. and he would have this 32-ounce Black Velvet and Pepsi that he would be drinking. Not just one to take the edge off. I mean, he'd go through it until he would fade off and pass off on the couch downstairs. And it's like, I don't think this was every night, but like he would wake up in like a rage.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah,
And you're how old at this point in time?
oh shoot, I don't know. I'm 0 to 0 to 17. Yeah.
So these are like vivid memories for you. I mean, like
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
the words I heard, the stuff I saw. I mean, I don't know that he ever hit my mom, but like multiple times he had her backed into corners, calling her every filthy name in the book.
Damn,
Um,
man.
yeah, and in part of what came out of that is I knew at a very young age, um, what kind of dude I wanted to be, right? What kind of dad I wanted to be, what kind of husband I wanted to be, which or partner, which led down the whole track that I had to learn that, oh, you can't just be agreeable all the time and not stand your ground, right? And that's,
Yeah.
that's later in adult life. But um
You're
that
wanting
was
to be the exact opposite of basically what you saw growing up, or you're taking some of those qualities that your old man had, but putting the other ones to best
yeah,
to
no, no,
rest.
no. I don't know. I didn't appreciate the hard working. The older I get, the more empathy I have for him, right?
Sure, sure.
And he passed away in 2002. We had the talk. We are all good. I have no regrets about anything with that
Okay, okay.
outside of me wanting to be the best guy I can be for the people around me, right? But you don't know what you don't know, and you only know what you know. So it's a lot of chaos. What it turned me into was this protector.
Hmm.
um, I mean, what I do for a living of trying to help people be more successful, be more emotionally intelligent, it's a productive way to protect and educate. Um, and that's what led me into this. But it's, growing up, it was weathering that, and it's really interesting, Joe, because there was a point. So I went in freshman year of high school, 6 foot 180. Okay. So I wasn't a small dude. Now by today's standards with the kids, I mean, my son's 17, he's darn near 6'3", 235, right? And they seem to just be bigger, right? But 6 foot 180. So if you trail back the growth behind that, at some point, now my dad was 6'2", 170,
Okay.
and he was a skinny, lots of beer and alcohol 170.
Yeah, skinny fat, they call them. Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, I became physically equal,
Ah,
and that's from a competitive standpoint, that matters, right?
of
And it's
course.
not productive. I wish I wouldn't have had this, right? But there's a point where you're not scared.
Like, you can't hurt me anymore. Yeah.
And that's a problem when you have a 10-year-old that makes a decision to run the show,
Ooh.
right? So take that 10 to 11 to 12, I'm bigger. I did what I wanted to do, and like I was his opposition, right? So if he drank, I was in his face. If
Ah.
he tried to raise his voice, I put him on the couch.
Hmm.
If he got aggressive with mom, he was dealing with me,
As a
right?
10-year-old kid?
10, 11, 12. Yeah. I mean, I have this memory of, I have never talked about this in this openly about it, right? But there was a time in fourth or fifth grade, probably fifth grade, I was holding my nephew. My buddy was over. And I think my sister must have been arguing with him, and he pushed my sister into the wall to where it broke the wall. And I remember taking my nephew, handing my nephew to my buddy, and whoosh, going in for the right. Um,
Like,
how
you
t-
punched him? Like, you pushed him,
I
or
didn't
you
punch him. I didn't. I'm sure I grabbed him and whatever.
just
No, I didn't
kinda
punch
said, "Get
anybody.
off. What are you doing?" Yeah, yeah, I gotcha.
I
Yeah.
don't. But dude, that is not something a 10, 11,
No,
12 year
my
old should
god.
be assuming
No,
responsibility for it. So anyway,
no.
um, that leads to, I'm not bashful about this. I mean, my grade point average when I graduated high school was 1.97.
Yeah.
Now, my son loves to give me crap about this because he's kudos to him. He's closer to 4.0. And my mom and I talk about this, and I'm just like, she always says, like, you needed to find your motivation. I'm like, Mom, I don't think I had any other options. I think I was so distracted by the stuff at home, I couldn't even see the bigger picture of doing the work and the rewards of that and the bigger picture. I just think I was in survival mode. Now, if we go into the behavior piece, we get into Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Uh-huh.
If you're living in insecurity, and shoot, you could even get into physiological safety, right? Um, if that stuff isn't intact, that's going to drive every decision you make, right?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Maslow's hierarchy.
I should know this, but tell us what that is again.
Okay, forgive me for throwing out
Yeah.
jargon. Okay, so Abraham Maslow was really the first person to study motivation.
Okay.
And he came out in the early 40s. He came out with the basic needs theory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what he says, and that there's people that contest this, but I think it's pretty money. He said that human beings have 5 levels of needs,
Okay.
and it's in a hierarchy.
Okay.
So you have foundational needs up to higher level needs. The foundational needs are survival needs, or what he would call the physiological needs. Okay. What does that mean? We need air, we need water, we
I
need
gotcha.
food, we need sleep, we need sex for reproduction,
Yep.
right? If those needs are not met,
We're dead.
forget being interested in anything else, because
Good
it's
point.
about motivation, right?
Right. I gotcha.
Okay. So level 1. So if you're unhealthy without even realize it, let's not even say you're sick or have a disease or something like that. Let's just say you're unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And your hormones are all jacked up, and physiologically, biologically, things aren't like doing what they're supposed to be doing. That will dominate everything you're doing, or at least distract from everything you could be doing.
And you might not even know it, right? I mean, it's like, yeah,
You won't know it
you
because your
won't.
motivation is right here.
I
Okay.
gotcha. Okay.
Well, okay. So, does a homeless person have concern about their get a corner office?
Probably not.
Doesn't even come into their mindset, because they are thinking about home, and they're thinking about safety, and thinking about shelter. They're thinking about warmth. They're thinking about food.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. And so that will motivate the behavior. Okay. So level 2 is safety and security. Now, the way Maslow frames it, he frames it more around physical safety. I throw psychological safety in there. And because the whole idea is, if you're insecure or stressed, that's going to drive your behavior with everything else.
Yep.
Level 3 is belonging. That's love and belonging.
Okay.
I would call that healthy relationships.
Okay.
Well,
There's probably a lot to unpack it. We'll define a healthy relationship, but yeah.
but if you're stressed and insecure, that's going to drive how you perceive people, perceive a potential partner, what your needs are, things like that. Right?
Gotcha.
If you
Gotcha.
got the mommy daddy issues, you may be picking partners based on insecurities versus like
Gotcha.
healthy best case, right? Level 4 is esteem,
Okay.
esteem to achieve, right? This is
Esteem
where
to achieve.
you're concerned about like your competitive nature at work, and your status and things like that.
Right.
And then level 5 is self-actualization. And the
Okay.
way I understand self-actualization, I would call it more probably spiritual, more purpose aligned, where it's like you don't have insecurities in the other areas because there's just greater alignment, right? Um, Now I think the way this works is you can go up and down the hierarchy,
Yeah. I
right?
gotcha. I
Right?
gotcha.
You
Yeah.
could be the most giving, kindest, nurturing person on the planet, but if you're hungry or you're tired, you might get a little hangry
It's going
and
to dominate the thought. Yeah.
start treating people less than you would if you were good, right?
Right. Right. Like we all stress about, whatever. It could be like, oh, I've got a big work presentation that I've got to do tomorrow. I got a big slide deck I got to present tomorrow. This is actually a good thing. I'm prepared, but I'm also nervous about it a little bit. But if I all of a sudden tonight got the stomach flu, I went out to eat and I got food poisoning, I could care less about that presentation. I just want to figure out how I'm going to get through the night. You know what I mean?
Well, and even if mentally and emotionally you're thinking about the presentation, your body is saying nope.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, nope,
Right. I mean,
right?
you're screwed. Well, this is interesting. So if you go back to this, you go back, I think we kind of to finish your story, you 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 tell a story about how your dad kind of pushed your sister into a wall big enough to put a hole in it.
Yeah.
You give your nephew or niece to your buddy, and then you push back as a young kid. You're then transformed into life. You get a 1 point whatever GPA in high school. By the way, they don't even let you get 1 point GPAs anymore in high school. It's a lot easier. Part of me thinks, yeah, well, it's probably a good thing, but one could argue sometimes, like I said, you got to find the bottom so you can get to the top. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to tell your story because when you're out here doing things with other businesses, they want to know, hey, how do I know this guy's not full of, you know,
Yeah.
snake oil, basically. This is not BS.
Yeah.
And you've lived it, man. I mean, you've definitely lived it. Hey folks, let's pause the podcast for a second to talk about one of the companies making the Germinate podcast possible. Want to give a huge thanks to GBGI. Here's Mark Adams.
Thanks, Joe. At our shop in Chardon, Ohio, every part we build is made with precision. From the CNC machining to the final inspection, we don't rush because we know your customers can't afford failure. If you're a dealer or OEM who wants reliability built in, give us a look. GBGI, built to spec, built to last. Learn more at gbgiusa.com. GBGI, grow with us.
A exciting partner that we just brought on board. I don't partner with those that I don't believe in. And FEMA is a network that I've been a part of for almost 20 years, over 20 years, actually. And this episode is powered by the Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association. FEMA connects the entire ag equipment ecosystem, not just manufacturers and suppliers, but a wide range of partners who help this industry run, grow, and evolve. In today's world, building farm equipment takes a heck of a lot more than steel, tooling, and production lines. It takes the people and companies who support manufacturers and suppliers behind the scenes, the problem solvers, innovators, creators, integrators, service partners, all you strategic thinkers who help businesses operate smarter, communicate better, and push this industry forward. So whether you build equipment, support the people who build it, or you're a company that wants to plug into the industry in a meaningful way, FEMA is the network to do that. It opens doors. It's where relationships become opportunities, where collaboration creates momentum, and where the future of our industry is being shaped. So if you want to be part of FEMA, reach out to me or reach out to farmequip.org, FARMEQUIP.org, and connect with manufacturers and partners driving agriculture forward. FEMA, where the whole industry connects, grows, and moves together. www.farmequip.org.
Well, I think it's and I'll land the plane on the story to kind of what opened all this stuff up is that I always had I had some healthy social dynamic. Right, I always had a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing things a lot. I was just a big dumb animal.
Yeah.
And unfocused. And I started and quit college a few times. Finally finished my associate's degree, and I got a job at an ad agency. I was a graphic designer back in the day, and I got it. So I'm 21, 22. Get a job at an ad agency. Energetic, social, passionate. I think I'm entertaining people. You don't know what you don't know. Didn't understand professionalism, didn't understand profitability, didn't understand billable hours, didn't understand consequence.
Yep.
And I got fired at my 1-year review. And that
Okay.
was kind of that was the kick in the stomach so it was February of 2001.
Okay.
Uh, and that was the kick in the stomach that made me go, oh my gosh, Jason, what are you doing? Right.
Sure.
And it was about a 6-month period of me making a decision. I needed to do something different. And it started with me defining, I don't want to be a failure, so I have to figure out success. So studying success. And this is 2001, man. We didn't have YouTube and podcasts and TED Talks and all this. I
Right,
had to
right,
read books.
right.
Um, I moved to Des Moines, took a psychology of success class at AIB, learned about Maslow, blew me away. I didn't understand it. But
Okay.
right into that, I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and that changed everything.
Okay.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it was about defining your values, creating a vision and a mission based on those values, creating a plan based on that vision and mission and those values, right?
Sure.
And I got out of that, so I'm 24 by this time, and I said, "All right, I want to help people do this. And by 30, I'm going to be teaching, training, coaching, counseling, or speaking. And every decision I made from 24 to 30, some good, some dumb decisions, were all to that end. And 20, and I get hired as a business coach with eMyth, and I'm like, holy smokes, there's something to this.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said at that age you write down, or you just think in your head, you read this book and you say, by age 30, I'm going to be doing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You write this down, you just
Oh
know
yeah.
this. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It
Okay.
was, I should have been prepared. 7 Habits is down in a bookshelf downstairs, like my old book. I would go to the Y every morning downtown Des Moines. I'd get on the elliptical machine
I
for an
went to
hour.
that same Y, by the way. That place was
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I'd get on the elliptical machine for an hour, read. I mean, if you look at this book, it's got sweat all over it, pages are torn.
Nice.
But when
Nice.
I went to work, I would do the exercises and activities, and it takes you through understanding your values, reconnecting your passions, and yeah, I wrote everything out, and it reconnected me. I grew up wanting to teach elementary school. That's also part of the I wanted to save everybody, right? That was the whole elementary thing. Took a different path with the graphic design, but going through 7 Habits reconnected me to the educator. And I remember making the decision that I go, okay, do I want to work with kids or adults? And I made the proactive decision to focus on adults. I had this fantasy that, man, if I can get in the right room and say the right thing and inspire the right people, their whole worlds would change and their children's worlds would change, right? Still
Kind of
have that
wrapping it
camp.
all into one. Yeah. You're putting
Yeah,
it all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not
Yeah.
not exactly how it works. Life's a
Yeah.
little more complex than that, I have
Yeah.
found.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wrote it down.
You
Yep.
wrote it down. Okay. So
Yeah.
fast forward to today. You've got all
Yeah.
this experience. You go through. I mean, that's a crazy life, man. I mean, that's not a typical you know, a typical life. But I think that's kind of where greatness comes from. You hear these things from people, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, number one, to overcome that as such a young little boy, a 10-year-old boy having to deal with
Wild.
that.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're at today, and then you talked a little bit about Traycom and social intelligence and your own business. So a business hires you today, or you are trying to find kind of an ideal customer today.
Yeah.
Walk us through the steps of what something like that looks like. So somebody hires you for, go ahead.
Yeah, so you'll get organizations that will hire you for a one-time engagement. They have a offsite team event or retreat. There's a conference. You might have a team or a problem going on with the team. A couple people aren't getting along, and they're going to bring everybody in to do a training, so they're not singling them out
Okay.
necessarily.
Okay.
Variety of reasons with that, right? Um, if you have organizations that are thinking bigger, they have more of a plan, they may want to bring in more of a multi-step, multi-session type programming, right? Which behavior change requires repetition of the right messaging, right? So
Hmm.
although I can appreciate one-time events and budgets matter, you got to keep talking about it, find a
Sure.
way to do it, right? So typically I will go in and I'll work with the team, and we'll start off with them taking the foundation of 97% of my work is a behavioral model called social style. And social style is a 4-quadrant assessment. It is similar to, it's in the same bucket of like a DISC, a Myers-Briggs, things like that, but it is very different in a lot of great ways. So what we'll do is, before the engagement, people will take an assessment. We have a multi-rater assessment that measures behavior and what we call versatility. And versatility is that your ability to modify how you work and you communicate depending on what the situation needs, right? Which is a predictor of success. Call it adaptability, flexibility, however you want to look at it. So people will take an assessment, and then I'll go in for the engagement, and it's a pretty, it's an experience more than a training. That's what I consider it.
So the assessment is what? So you take this assessment, it's a series of questions, it's a series of what?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a series of observable behaviors.
Okay. Like, give me an
Yeah.
example. What's that mean?
Joe dominates meetings.
Okay. Yes or
Likert
no, or
scale
true or
1 to
false?
5,
Oh,
Likert scale 1 to 5, strongly agree, strongly disagree.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Joe shares personal stories.
1 to 5.
1 to 5, something like that. So there's right now the assessment is 39 items. It's all scientifically validated and reliable. It aligns with all the
Yeah.
domestic and international testing standards. But it's observing behavior. So you would take it and answer items about yourself, and then you would have at least 3 other people who you work and communicate on a regular basis take it on you, and they
Oh,
would
they take it about you. They don't take it about themselves. So,
well, but the whole multi-rater perspective, similar to a 360, this is where we see of how we think we show up is accurate to how others perceive us,
I gotcha. Okay.
right?
Got it. Which I think is important. It's important to get pushback. It's important to get feedback on yourself because sometimes we
Yeah,
can, I call it deconstruction, maybe a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Because sometimes you can even say things like, I'm super humble, or I'm really, I'm super vulnerable. Well, those are words that make you feel real good about yourself. Like, I'm
yeah.
vulnerable and humble. Well, yeah, but you can also kind of worship those qualities as well. You know what I mean? And
People may not agree. People may
yeah,
not
people
agree.
may not
That's
agree
the
either. Yeah,
I
right.
I'll give you an example with this. I got hired by a large senior living organization out of Florida. And these senior living organizations, they have 100 resort-like properties all across the country. Like
Mhm.
this is where we want to end up when we're 70 years old. Like
Okay.
it's fine dining, it's got all this stuff.
Right.
Um,
On the beach. Yeah,
and that they tend to be in fun areas because of the attraction piece of it, right?
of course.
Um, So they had a executive director and a director of sales. So executive director, top leader of the property,
Uh-huh.
director of sales, sales leader of the property has a team underneath her. They were not getting along. Corporate, and this is a 5,000 person at that time organization. Like they've got the resources.
Dang. Dang, yeah.
Corporate could not figure out how to get this together. And relationships matter, and I knew some folks and they know what I do. So they brought me in and they had me work with both of them individually.
How do they
Okay.
know they're not getting along? Who tells you that? Or how is that found out?
Yeah,
Because that's a tough thing.
I'm gathering the director of sales was expressing their frustrations about the lack of whatever from the executive director, which probably started a bigger
I
conversation,
gotcha. I gotcha.
right?
Okay. So anyway, they're not getting along. You come in. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
mean to
yeah.
interrupt there.
No, no, no. So I take each of them through the social style and versatility profile. The executive director. So what's the social style does is that each of us has a dominant pattern of behavior
Uh-huh.
that shows up most of the time. Okay. We call that dominant pattern behavior a social style.
Give me an example of a dominant pattern of behavior.
Yep. Some people have a driving style. Some people have more of an expressive style. Some people have an amiable style. Some people have more of an analytical style. Driving style is more outcome and task oriented, right? So they're more likely to get impatient when outcomes aren't being met, and they're more likely to prioritize the task over the people.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
The
Yep.
expressive style is also outcome oriented, but they're highly relational. Okay. So they want to collaborate. They want to get stuff done, but they want other people to be on board and get excited about it. Okay.
Mhm.
The amiable style is highly people oriented, but it's less about the outcome. It's more about the consistency and predictability with relationship. So they tend, these folks tend to be at the worst, they tend to be more people pleasing. They don't want to rock the boat, upset anybody because they want to keep the relationship consistent and good, right? Then you have the analytical style who tends to be more task oriented, but they want predictability and information and structure, right? So, I mean, we could get into the whole like, what happens when you have someone that wanted something done yesterday working with somebody that wants 3 days to look at information?
Mhm. So in your example of the retirement center on the
Yeah.
beach, they bring you in and, there's this squabble going on between the sales director and the executive director, and you're
Yep.
finding basically you find out they have conflicting personality types or social
Yeah,
intelligence types
yeah,
or yeah.
yeah. It's and we focus on behavior, not personality. But what it came down to it, the executive director is more of an analytical style,
Okay.
and the director of sales is more of an expressive style.
And that
They're
just that those 2 don't work together.
If they're versatile, they will work. They can work together, right? But if human nature is running the show, the analytical style wants things at a slower pace, more information based. And the expressive style moves at a faster pace, and they're comfortable with chaos and the lack of structure and things like that. But here's where it comes down to, Joe, and here's where the rubber meets the road. The driving style, their need for security is results in control. The expressive style, their need for security is personal approval and partnership.
Okay.
Okay. So when we're getting into like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and what motivates behavior, the amiable style, they want predictability in relationship and support and patience. And the analytical style wants precision and accuracy. So without even trying, if you've got someone that needs to move at a slower pace, that wants more information to cross T's and dot I's, working with somebody that's more emoting and enthusiastic and could care less about the structure, neither of their needs are going to be met because this person's not going to get that personal approval and partnership because this person over here is drowning in the chaos.
Yeah. No, I
Right?
get you.
So I'll land the plane on this, but what ended where this came up was the executive director in his mind, and not in his mind, in reality, he looked the part, he was professional, he spoke well, he was well-intended, and he genuinely wanted the best for people and this person. But in his analytical nature, his idea of being relational did not even come near the relational needs of this director of sales,
Got
right?
it.
They
Yeah.
didn't want someone to be nice to them. They wanted someone to partner with them and get in the mud with them,
Got it. Yeah.
right?
They wanted them to be similar style than they are, basically.
Yeah, we're not challenging people to change your style. We're challenging people to consider others' needs and make an effort.
And now that's interesting. And I've been a part of a lot of these type of things before. And my always pushback's the wrong word, but I challenge it by saying, number one is I think a lot of people are a lot of things, right? A lot of people are a lot of these different types, whether it's behavior type, whatever it may be. And then I think a lot of outside factors. To your point on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what if you come into work that day and man, you stub your toe like a son of a bitch on the cabinet right when you got into your truck, and it's all you're thinking about. And that's the day you take the behavior test and you're going, you know what I mean? It's life happens. And so it's challenging to get people to work with people. I think that's the overarching thing here is people have to work with people in some way, shape, or form. And we're trying to
Yep.
make it easier and we're trying to make it so you can understand her and she can understand him and he can understand that guy. And, you know, I don't know where I'm going here other than the fact that I think that there's a lot of factors obviously going on, right?
Well, here's the beauty of it, though. How you fill out your assessment may affect you if you stubbed your toe. The four or five people that do it on you,
That's a good point.
they're looking at the past year
That's a
of
good point.
behavior,
That's a very good point.
right? Which
Yep.
is why the multi-rater is a really key element, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
very good point. That's a good point.
And the other thing with it is that, and this is the big misconception that I have to unpack every time. 90% of our thought, behavior, and communication patterns are automatic. We do them with very little to no active thinking. And it's everything. I mean, the low hanging fruit is you're not consciously blinking. You're not consciously breathing.
Right.
We'll take that into how you tend to work and communicate with people and what tends to stress you out and how you tend to respond to stress. If you're not making an effort to do things different, and if human nature is running the show, you're going to do things pretty darn similar, regardless of where you're at and who you're with. Everybody thinks we're these chameleons that just, oh yeah, I'm different depending on where I'm at. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but the research doesn't necessarily support that. And if you are different, there's some incentive. You're making some decision to do something different, likely.
What do you mean by human nature is running the show?
Yeah. So, if so, 90% of our thought, behavior, and communication patterns are automatic. These are our behavioral tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
These are our habits, good and bad.
Got it.
These are our biases. These are our stress responses,
Uh-huh.
right? If we are not playing an active role in our experience, where we're evaluating how we're doing things in different situations and making an effort, we're going to act pretty darn similar regardless of where we're at, who we're with, for the better or worse.
Sure.
Okay. That's the human nature running the show, where it's more of our subconscious running the show. Um, it's more of the and maybe that works out, maybe it doesn't, right? But what we're trying to educate people to do is disrupt those patterns,
I
learn
see.
about the patterns, disrupt them to do something different. Because okay, if you are if a driving style, their dominant pattern is push, pull, dictate, force in more of a task-oriented fashion, if they have any chance of developing relationship with people that are more relational, where their needs are relational, they're gonna have to try to do something different.
So is part of this just becoming aware of it and understanding kind of who you are and what drives you, but also who you're working with and how and what drives them? Is that just
Yeah,
a obviously being aware of it is because that's a hard thing to do sometimes to look in the mirror and be like, who is this guy? Who is this guy looking back at me? You know, it's tough because we want to be, we all have like the chat GPT version of ourselves where, these large language models are designed to make us feel good. And that I think is very, very dangerous. This could be another
it can
podcast we
be.
could have, by the way. I think it's
Yeah.
very dangerous when you're constantly being fed, "Oh, Joe, man, that's a great idea. Good job." And that's what ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, Copilot, they all do. They're all designed that way. And, it kinda brings me back to it's okay to get a 1.8 GPA in high school. It's not that it's but you gotta be aware of it, you know? Being aware of things
At
is
some
super
point, you have to
important.
be aware of it, that
It
it's
it
probably not good.
it's
Yeah.
probably not good, and you
Yeah.
gotta change, and you gotta kinda move courses.
I think that's a whole awareness piece. I mean, yeah, let's zero okay, let's go back to you. I've been talking so much about me.
No, dude, I think it's
At
been
some
great.
point no, I know. At some point, at some point, you gain greater awareness, and you were probably thinking about it for a while. Like, how many times did your bride go out for a run and you're playing a video game with a cigarette or beer, right? Before how many times did that happen before you said, "I can't keep doing this?"
Oh, dude, like, a lot. Like, I fought
Awareness.
it. I would just be like, "Oh, this is," in a weird way, this is who she fell in love with. She fell in with the beautiful loser, you know what I mean? That's a good song, by the way, but she fell in love with the guy that was kind of a, I almost felt like it was uncool to be like, in shape and do that. And if I did that, I would become this person that I didn't like in a strange way. I know that's very analytical and all that, but that's probably maybe that's what I'm talking about today, but that's what I'm remembering back then too. No, I'm this person over here. I'm this beautiful loser guy, you know?
But at some point through little awareness, feeling, "Oh, crap, I don't like that." Awareness, "Oh, that makes me" right? At some point, there was enough awareness points where you said, "I don't like I am aware
Yeah.
of where I'm at, and I don't like it." And you
Well,
made
and
different decisions.
to rewind me a little bit more, in high school, I was a all conference athlete in multiple sports. So I sort of peaked at 17, the proverbial peak. I was on
Sure.
top of the world. I was really good at sports and people, I had some attention put onto me. Uh, and then all that ended, and that is a very, very tough void to fill
Yeah, I
because
bet.
it's a constant go. You got a lot of attention on you. And when it ends, you're still trying to find that competitive something and that attention, but it's not there, man. It's not there. And so you fall into or I fell into a different kind of headspace, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, I think it does. I think it, how I could relate to that, I think I peaked at I have the same experience, but I think I peaked at 35 or 36. Well, one thing I left out is, it just I'm 48, I have a 29-year-old daughter, so in the span of that, that home stuff and the 1.9 GPA, had unprotected sex and got my high school girlfriend pregnant, right? So, I was always, in my mind, behind,
Yep, I
right? I
gotcha.
never peaked, I never had that appreciation to, like, take my foot off the pedal until 35, 36 came along, and I think it's probably when I took my first trip to do leadership training, and that was the way it is, and then, it shifted from me being this creative, driving person that's motivated to having to maintain and sustain and work the process, and that's where I was like, "Oh gosh, the fun's over, like, this is what it is?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right, and I'm continuously, and if you're a competitive person and that stuff matters, like, I mean, at 48, I think we're similar ages, right? If,
Yeah. I'm 40. Am I 48? Yeah, I'll be 49 here in a couple weeks. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to productively keep that going. I know it's exciting. I know it excites me. I know it bores me. I think, lots of people to get into trouble trying to get excitement and avoid boredom in unproductive ways. Can't do that. So I'm constantly trying to figure out how to peak again.
Well, and I think that's the interesting thing. I lived with the mentality of I peaked at 17 and it is what it is for probably 20, maybe even 30 years.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, I was like, I peaked at 17. It's not going to get any, I shouldn't say it's not going to get any better than that, but that's when, and so I've constantly been trying to live up to that peak. And I've just realized probably in the last 10 years that your life's like this big giant map and you're just putting marks on it, right? You're just okay, here's a phase. You can kind of mark phases. The old generation, we're getting old. So I'm not marking years, I'm marking like phases.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
but I'm like, okay, that phase is that time. And then and each one of those is like a little marker that you can build on and grow from and realize and become self-aware and then become more disciplined. And I'm very interested in the reasons why that happens. I haven't figured it out yet, but I at one point in time, I quit accepting that, "No, no, no, man. You didn't peak at 17. You're gonna continue to peak, and you can do it at 48 or 68 or 78, it doesn't really matter." And to me, it's diving into more relationships than it is into outcomes, like the relationships with my wife, my friends, my kids,
Yeah.
people like you, these conversations,
Yeah.
uh, clients, business people. I mean, that's the stuff, in my opinion, that matters, and, the petty stuff that we all dream and think about that's so important at the time, some presentation I'm giving tomorrow. Dude, it's meaningless. It's absolutely it doesn't matter. Whether you
Yeah.
do good at it or bad at it, it doesn't really matter. It's all about the relationship in the end. My opinion only, once again. So, I love talking with people like you that actually study this stuff for a living and understand, you know, it's people are complex, man. We are challenging folks. I'm becoming more aware of that as well because my daughter is 17, my son's 15. They're no longer kids. They're like becoming complex human beings, you know?
Yeah, and, what you're experiencing is, I had a chance to I've been experiencing the past 10 years or so, like, we go from a middle manager with a small team that we kinda have to micromanage,
Yeah.
and as they get older, we move into more of a director role to where we're laying out strategies and hope they follow it, then we're leaning in more to a strategic role to where we're setting the vision and trying to set the example, they may or may not follow it. And then shoot, I feel like I'm like a board of directors that just maybe I get listened to or not sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's there's nothing, no better job on the planet than being a dad. And I would do that synonymous with motherhood as well, right? I mean, it's man, what a purposeful journey it is. And
Yeah. It's so true, and it's very, very hard the older your kids get. You know, you have older kids, and one of them's 29, and like, we're I told you before we started, 2026 has always been a measurement year for us because it's the year my daughter graduates high school, and we thought about that when she was first born, like, "Okay, she's gonna graduate high school in 2026. We're gonna be flying saucers and wearing Back to the Future shoes and driving DeLoreans," you know? The reality of it is that's not true, but what is true is that time does what time does, and it's been kind of a weird year. It's been kinda sad because we know she's leaving the nest, but also super fulfilling because, like, every moment is like, we amp it up, man. We just like, I had lunch with her yesterday, and I was like, "No, no, no, don't go back to school. Like, I'll call you in another 20 minutes. Let's just keep talking. This is great. I wanna hold on to this as best I can." So, I don't know, you know, you gotta appreciate that time, and it's, it screws with you, man. It messes with my mind a lot for sure, and it's just a matter of figuring it all out, I guess. But we're going off into a bunch of sweet directions. I got to have you back on here because I'm running out of time. I've got another one, but I want you to kind of tell a completion story of, and if you want to pick the one on the assistant director and the director of, like, somebody brings you on board and lets you have basically you guys can see this is what happens when you hire somebody like Jason. He's a real guy with real thoughts, and he's lived it and he understands, and he just wants to have a conversation and wants to help. So what happened in that situation, and give us a kind of a success story here.
Yeah, I'll land with the happy ending with that situation is,
Yeah.
long story short, they understood each other better and realized how they didn't have to be perfect, but realize how to meet each other's needs. So the executive director would ask more questions and go sit in her office and listen to her vent, where before he would give some static answer. And she also recognized that, um, she and that if she when she communicated some things, like she was given 20 items and his analytical nature only had the capacity to receive 5 at a time, right? And they started understanding that here's the happy ending with it. They had a team outing at Top Golf of the leadership team. Guess who the last 2 people were there sitting at the bar having a drink chatting?
Nice.
These 2.
Yep. That's
I'm like, I
awesome.
get chills when
Dude,
I'm
I
hearing
hear
that
you. It's
because
awesome.
that would not have happened. And listen, I'm a messenger of really great information. It's not me. I'm a messenger,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But holy smokes, that's what it's about. And it'll change our relationship forever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's in the sessions, in the experience, it is my job to make it comfortable for people. And it's my job to make it personal for people. So one of the first things I do is I'll let people fill out what's called a key relationships worksheet where they outline all their key relationships in the workplace. And as we're going through the experience of talking about behavior and observing behavior and understanding behavior, what does fast pace mean versus slow pace? What does this mean versus that? I'm saying, look at your key relationships worksheet. Who's the person that annoys you the most? Are you learning a little bit different about them where you realize that annoyance is more of a function of dominant pattern behavior than it is anything towards you?
Yeah.
And I believe heads and hearts can change to where things that were frustrating and devastating before and disrespectful are now little annoyances that we know how to work with. And it's all about it my purpose statement, you see this on LinkedIn on my website, help people experience more success with less stress.
Yeah.
And I think this stuff is a mechanism to help people have greater civility, feel more valued while helping other people be respected and valued in a super safe, easy, fun way that can really change the trajectory of everything you're doing moving forward. At home as well, not
Of
just at
course.
work.
Well, it's funny, man. There's one, whether you're a Christian or not, there's one prayer that about everybody knows in the world, and it's because, you know, it was part of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, but it's the Lord's Prayer. And in it, there's a line that says, forgive me my sins and then help me forgive those who sinned against me, which means kind of love everybody. We're all a bunch of sinners. We're all a bunch of dumb idiots while walking around, idiots out walking around. We're Iowans. And so you gotta throw a little grace to people, and it's super important. I mean, if it's in the if it's biblical, whether you think of it or not, that book is meaningful, and it goes on along to kind of what you said. I'm not putting you on that pedestal, man. I'm not trying to. But the point being is what you're saying is sometimes you just gotta understand, um, you know, how to love each other. And that's in a sense
Yeah.
what it's about, right?
Well, and think about the people you have the best relationships with. They're not perfect, but they make some effort to get you.
Yep. That's
That's it.
exactly right.
We don't
That's it.
need people that listen. My need is approval. I don't want my butt kissed. Make an effort.
Make an effort. Yeah.
Let's make an effort. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I love it, man. Well, I'm gonna have you back on. This is good. This is gonna resonate well. Tell everybody real quick how to get in touch with you, what your socials are, what's your website, all that. So if they want to reach out, I'll also put it in the show notes as well. But Go ahead.
Yeah, so you can see my first and the last name on the screen there. I just say that because if I say my last name, Jason Kiesau, it's going to mean nothing to you because you might misspell it. So you got to spell it correctly.
Yep.
But jasonkiesau.com is my website, and you can find me on LinkedIn or predominantly LinkedIn and Facebook, but more LinkedIn.
Jason, man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you're doing. Like, there's no substitute for conversations about meaningful things, and we need to keep having them.
By the way, I'm ending every podcast this year with one thing. Tell me what's the best song you're listening to these days?
Best song or the song
Just your
that
favorite song you're listening to right now.
song I love is My Way, Frank Sinatra.
Hey, nice, man. Nice.
Right.
That's a good call.
And
Nice.
if you go through, it's a legacy song, right? It's a legacy of triumphs and mistakes and experiences. And if you go through it, I just think it's fantastic. It's a motivator for us being middle-aged dudes of, when it's all said and done, the memories I want to have. And that in itself is purpose.
Now the tingles on the neck started again. You did it twice to me. Attaboy. My Way. I wish I could play it right now, but I don't think I have the rights to do that. But Frank Sinatra, this one's for you. My Way.
Just the lyrics are great. Yeah.
I hear you. It's a great song. Jason, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you
Thanks,
too.
everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Reach driven leaders with the Germinate podcast. Sponsor our show to align your brand with actionable insights and purposeful growth. Contact us today at embosales.com/podcast. That's www.embosales.com/podcast to partner and inspire our growing audience of professionals. Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the Germinate podcast. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others in the industry. And join me next time as we continue to explore the innovations and strategies shaping the future of agriculture and business. Until then, keep growing, keep innovating, and keep germinating your success.